19th September 2024, we are going to discuss editorials from Business Standard, The Pioneer, and Livemint. Today, we are not taking any articles from The Hindu. There are good articles from other newspapers, so we will discuss those articles in detail. First article here, reclaiming water bodies, in order to avoid water crisis. What kind of measures need to be taken in order to reclaim the water bodies? You see, most of the time in India, we are facing water crisis. In some area, flooding is happening. This is because there is an encroachment of water bodies. In urban areas, if we go, a lot of water bodies have been dried up, or even they have been encroached. So if this thing going to happen, then we may face severe water crisis in the future. So in this light, article has been written in very good manner. We'll discuss this article. If you see, urban lakes and wetlands, they are integral part of our ecosystem. These urban lakes and wetlands, they perform critical environmental, social, economic functions because they are the source of drinking water, they recharge the groundwater, even they support biodiversity besides even providing livelihood to many of the people. These water bodies, they will provide fishing grounds. Many of the families can be depending upon them. Even these water bodies can act as a shock absorber in the ocean area. Suppose say mangrove forest are there, those are water bodies. They will protect from ocean waves during tsunami times and all. But life of these indispensable water bodies, this is going under onslaught of population. Population is going, even administration due to their corrupt practices, life of these water bodies coming down. Even construction mafia also, they are encroaching these water bodies. If you see a study by Wetland International, this shown 2 out of every 5 waterlands or wetlands in India, they have been lost in last 30 years. Even now present remaining water bodies, 40% of them are unable to support aquatic life because of the deterioration in the water quality. Because this plunder of the water bodies in India, this did not happen just one night or two night. This is happening over some time. If you say like almost century, we are facing water crisis because this is happening continuously. If you take Bengaluru for example, in the 18th century, British expedition by Governor General Cornwallis, in order to find alternative route between Madras and Srirangapatna, they came upon Bengaluru because it was full of lakes and water bodies. They wanted to find, you might have seen Srirangapatnam, it was ruled by Tipu Sultan at that time. Even Madras was controlled by British, and then they had good establishment over there. So they wanted to find a route between Madras and Srirangapatna. Between Bengaluru was falling. Bengaluru today global hub, but in British time Bengaluru was full of lakes and water bodies. The captain that was heading this expedition, this referred Bengaluru as land of thousand lakes in his report. Today, if you see Bengaluru, this is very in bad condition. Once, it was described as in the past. Past people were used to say there were thousands of lakes, but presently we cannot find any lake because lot of encroachment happened. Water bodies died completely, and then these were completely occupied by administrative areas. In 1960, Bengaluru had 262 lakes, but today only 10 of them have only water capacity, even water. That means 252 water lakes have been gone out of service within 60 years. There is a decline in water bodies because of exploitation. Population has grew in great manner. This had put a lot of emphasis on urbanization. Unplanned urbanization may lead to loss of water bodies. Lakes and water bodies, they are disappearing at alarming pace at the city level, even state level also. According to our Union Jal Shakti Ministry report, Karnataka lost almost 13,000 water bodies in just 1 year between 21 and 22. So you can understand how much grave concern is related to water bodies. This is even case with every city in India, not only Karnataka. If we take Ahmedabad for example, there were almost 137 lakes were there in 2001, but as per recent reports, 65 only we can find as of now. That means half of the lakes have been gone out. Even if you see Delhi area, this is being robbed of its water bodies. According to Delhi government report, nearly 49.1% Delhi water bodies, they do not exist anymore. They have either gone missing or they have been encroached upon. They have been encroached and building might have constructed because of the commercial use, because of this corrupt political practices, corrupt administrative practices. The entire nation, India, we can say proudly, we have in the same depressing scenario. Recently, state government, they are sitting up, they are taking a notice and they are going to act. For example, you might have heard several times about Hydra in recent news times. What is this Hydra? Telangana state government and their authority known as Hydra, Hyderabad Disaster Response and Asset Protection Agency. They have taken initiative to reclaim encroached land water bodies in Hyderabad, even surrounding areas that have made even national headlines. Hydra team, they created July this year. This was headed by IPS officer. He has been given a clear-cut mandate by State Chief Minister Revant Reddy to free the city water bodies from illegal encroachment and construction. The full tank level, this was kept as a parameter by Hydra. What do you mean by full tank level? Suppose say one lake is there, it can hold that much of water. So that is called full tank level. So if it is not holding that much of water, that means that much area is encroached upon. So this Hydra authority will calculate full tank level, and then those areas that have been encroached or some construction have been carried out within 30 meters of this full tank level, they will be subjected to demolition. This agency, Hydra, they have given free hand, they have given even immune to political pressures with zero tolerance being practiced. If encroachment happen in this, even if encroachment is done by prominent politicians, businessmen of the people, even Chief Minister brother, he was served with a notice of demolition. So you can understand the gravity of the situation, how Telangana government is carrying out. This kind of drive, this conducted diligently, even without bowing any pressure, that was able to remove 262 unauthorized encroachment that is built in water bodies, government lands, urban canals, parks in 23 locations in the city that have been removed. 111.72 acres of land so far it has been reclaimed. You can understand, you 111 acres, that much of area has been encroached upon. State government even issued further instruction. It made compulsory to take Hydra NOC, no objection certificate, before going to construct anything near that lakes. The actions by this Hydra, they have instilled a sense of confidence among environmentalists, not only in Telangana but also across India. And these actions are seen as a case study in governance, especially about protecting environmental assets such as water bodies. But as expected, any groundbreaking initiative, the step taken by Telangana government, this has criticized for inhuman, because demolition of the houses of the poor, those who are paying the loans for the same. They were not aware of the situation. They might have bought the houses at cheap cost. Now government have come all of a sudden and then they demolished the house who were paying loans to these areas. Given these kind of adverse feedback, state government issued clarification to the effect occupied houses will not be demolished. Hydra initiative, this is an example. This is even a great call for the rest of our nation to wake up and then rescue and reclaim our water bodies. This is crucial in the light of reports released by United Nations, even Niti Aayog. These reports state water demand will reach twice the available supply. 40% of India's population, they will not have access to clean drinking water by 2030. So water crisis is true and it is growing day by day. These initiatives are welcoming, but this is not enough. This should be carried out across India. To prevent this kind of grim future, central government, it can collaborate with state government, even local environmental group, in order to establish wetland task force for every state. So these wetlands task force, they can be given a task to have reclaim every water body in their jurisdiction by clearing out encroachment, demolishing illegal construction, even preventing changes in the land use. Apart from this enforcement duty, the task force, they should have enabling role. The state specific task force, they should have clear mandate to reclaim every water body in its jurisdiction by clearing out encroachments, demolishing illegal construction, even preventing changes in land use also. Apart from these duties, the task force must have also focused on replenishing and rejuvenating wetlands, water bodies in their jurisdiction. For example, task force can encourage urban households and businesses to implement rainwater harvesting practices on their premises. What happens when you implement rainwater harvesting premises? Our water bodies level will increase and then we can protect our environment. The global ecosystem can be maintained in good condition. The water harvested, this can be channeled towards improving groundwater table, recharging the aquifers. Even the government can regulate borewells in the urban areas also. These kind of indiscriminated, unregulated drilling of water in metropolitan area, these things have caused a drying up of the groundwater table. The task force team can serve and even save the city water resources by ensuring prior permissions are taken to drill bore wells. Furthermore, this task force can install water meters so that there can be cap in water extraction, and then it can be done in quantified manner. Suppose say for each household per capita 20 liters of water will be enough for per day, so that much water can be capped as based upon the family. So this way we can protect water bodies, water reservoirs. There have been many instances where even local leaders with political affiliation, they adopt the lakes and water bodies in the name of preserving them. Even in the name of preserving, what they will do, they will slowly encroach upon the property and then they will take under their custody. After that, they will have collaboration with building mafia construction, and then property will be sold to those citizens they were not aware of. Suppose you are working in the city, you are not aware of all these conditions. Even legally you will go to some lawyer and you will find some good opinion, but ultimately you will be found up in all these controversies. This wetland task force, they can prevent such kind of role. They can give a huge important role in ensuring that no individual or even commercial company can be entrusted with safeguarding these lakes and water bodies because of these kind of manipulations. If you see, water bodies, they are India's lifelines. Reclaiming the lost water bodies and preserving the remaining water bodies, this will ensure water security of the future for our nation. So this is article about reclaiming water bodies in order to prevent water crisis. We will discuss next article about leaderless movements, whether there is a chance that leaderless movement can happen in India, and then they will take the chance. Recently you might have seen in Bangladesh, without leader, those movements, they had become a huge superpower. Then they demolished the government completely. Sheikh Hasina, she was former Prime Minister of Bangladesh, and she had to succumb to these pressure and then ultimately had to resign, and then she had to flee to India. So these kind of situation, whether in India it will arise. You might have seen agricultural movement by our farmers. Even several such things have been carried out. What will be the impact of this leaderless movements? So we'll discuss this article from Livemint. In August, there is now uncertain September, because between Bangladesh and West Bengal, there is huge uncertainties lying. In Bangladesh, small student movement that began in early June, this became a mass uprising because it forced Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to resign and flee to Delhi. Interim government, they are trying to restore normal condition in Bangladesh, but no one knows what comes next. In West Bengal also, why in West Bengal? RG Kar Hospital, we have discussed several times, a trainee doctor, she was raped and brutally attacked and murdered. Because of these things, now protests are happening in West Bengal government, in West Bengal across, there were several things are happening. Middle and upper class citizens, they are coming out of the streets and then they are demanding justice for trainee doctor. The future of this story, this can be seen predictable. It will lead to adjustment and modification, but there is no fundamental changes are happening. These events, and even most recent example, this is called age of leaderless mass movements. People will come on the streets and then they will start protesting. This political mobilization of the past, these were led by political parties and organizations. These parties Mobilization required proper planning, active and dedicated workers, direct communication through top down hierarchical structures with recognized leaders and goals. Those kind of movements, there will be a clear leader. If something goes wrong, those leaders will be held example. For example, say Satyagraha salt march was carried out by father of the nation Mahatma Gandhi, or even Sampurna Kranti movement led by Jayaprakash Narayan. These are the leadership movement. If something had gone, then Mahatma Gandhi and Jayaprakash Narayan, they would have been held responsible and they will be put under jail. The new movements where this new phenomenon is rising, leaderless movements, they have no leaders to begin with. They are typically sparked by a significant event. Even they will galvanize into action and accumulated anger against political elites, corruption and injustice. They will outburst their anger. They will attack the government authorities. They will attack the government buildings. Not to say even government leaders also, those who are holding leadership roles. This organization is done not by existing political parties or their mission, but through social and viral media. You see, digital media is playing huge role. When you see WhatsApp, even Instagram, they are playing huge role in mobilizing these people, and then information is passing like anything. Even fake news also can be passed in such a way. These movements can bring a huge anger onto network and then onto the roads. When journalists want to know what these movement desires, what their objectives are, they need to ask, like random protesters on the street and celebrities. There is no movement where leader can be asked about all these questions. The key to this new form of protest is communication technology. Mobile phones, this has become contemporary instrument of mass mobilization. Like, it can be used to, these mobile phones can be used to deploy a flash mob wherein you can find some 500 peoples that come and perform the dance at the railway station, even mountain like huge attack on the police station, even summon thousands of demonstration for a street march. So the potential of this decentralized communication capacity, it is being accepted as the most revolutionary political technology after like printing press that remade religion, language, nations in Europe. There are several examples of this new leaderless mass movements. If you see in 2011, there was Arab Spring, and later it began in Tunisia and it spread entire Egypt, Libya, Syria, Yemen and other countries that led to removal of several rulers. Even anti-corruption protests that were brought down Evo Morales in Bolivia country in 2019. They were leaderless movement. People came out on the street because of the huge held anger. They will act against the government. So at that point of time, they won't think about anything. They will start attacking. Even if person is there, they may not even think about killing. It may take to sudden revolution also. Even recent pro-democracy movement in Hong Kong and Myanmar, they were crushed. But these are all large leaderless mass movements. Even if you see at small scale, there were Black Lives Matter in United States of America. This came out because public murder of George Floyd by police. George Floyd is a black man. He was murdered by police. So police had put his thighs on the neck of this person, George Floyd, and he will die immediately. This, public came against, and then they told, black people, their lives also matter. So they have been treated like slaves. That was 1860 past rule and all. 1860, Abraham Lincoln completely abolished slavery, but some sort of slavery, some sort of bias still exists against black people. They came with Black Lives Matter movement. Even Occupy Wall Street movements in the United States, Yellow Jackets in France, these are all small scale movements that had huge impact on the governments. What kind of lessons we can learn from these leaderless movements? Why do these kind of some movement will succeed while other will fail? What does success mean? What does potential impact of such movements in India? We will discuss these things. If you see Arab Spring, this provides some guidance. The name was given by Western observers to describe this uprising of the youth in several Arab countries. There was a tinderbox of anger against corruption, political suppression that was already existed. It was set allied by self-immolation of the Tunisian roadside vendor. In Cairo, Egypt, large-scale protests organized largely through social media by politically unaffiliated youth. This protest began in Tahrir Square. After much violence by military government against street protesters, Egypt president he resigned Hosni Mubarak and he was ousted by the military also. You can say ousted by military. In Western media, there were many ecstatic proclamations about power of social media to propel social change. Egypt's elections followed in 2012, won by Islamic Brotherhood. This was a hierarchical old religious organization that had only played for marginal role in the protest. The unorganized leaderless students who had protested and suffered, they were pushed aside, they were went aside, even several people have died. But this Islamic Brotherhood organization, all of a sudden it came, it doesn't have any role in this protest. The new government of Mohammad Morsi, this lasted barely more than a year. This was removed by Egyptian military because of the coup in 2013. Then General Fateh El-Sisi, he became, and he is still president. This Arab Spring in Egypt, this turned into Arab Winter. The power and role of military, this was very decisive in Egypt. Even you see Bolivia, same case goes with Evo Morales. Even Sheikh Hasina in Bangladesh. These are all examples. Even military packed with loyalists, they asked you to go, you have no choice. Masses, the typical balance against armed forces, they will be no longer with you when you are holding the government. Conversely, when military see their self-interest in supporting the regime, even in Hong Kong and Myanmar, protest will die. The rulers, they won't flee. This is happens with military. Military, if they want to suppress the movement, they can do, or otherwise, if they want to coup and then they want to take the role, these things will happen. Now, presently, we can discuss about India. In India, it is impossible to imagine such kind of situation because military could compel Prime Minister to resign. But our military, they have never taken any part in this government. If you see, 1975 emergency came, but military had a small role. They didn't involve themselves in the political values or political affiliations. This is very good thing about India. Military functions one side and politics will be other side. But the larger questions, it is possible to galvanize all of India or any issue because that will unite all the fragmented sections of the society without any leadership. At the central government or national level, the answer will be no. Indian society, we have different kind of religions, languages, caste, tribes, even classes. We have different interest. We have grown further in the recent decades. People want to grow further. They want peace. If you see even Hindu identity, this is not even monolithic. We have different gods. Even there is not one political party. There are several political parties that draw from this Hindu identity. It is possible some economic catastrophe, suppose say runaway inflation, this may unite plurality of the population, but mass mobilization will not achieve such kind of issues in old fashioned political parties or ballot box kind of things. Our country is a largest democratic country. Dissent, this will serve powerful purpose of notifying rulers. They are answerable to the people. But dissent is not an ideology. From even Anti-Citizenship Amendment Act movement that began, this was even ongoing struggle in Bengal. Dissent is warning sign that ruling classes. What it cannot do in India's fragmented polity is draw citizens from all social identity and classes. It is not harbinger of revolution. So these kind of situation will not enable in India. So it may take a lot of time. But these leaderless movement, they are very dangerous for any country. Before going anything, government should take appropriate action. They should take preventive measures. When they come into government, instead of ruling like dictator manner, they should act in good way by enforcing the fundamental values, by guiding through the constitutional values. By then country will go in good manner. So this is the article about leaderless movement. We'll discuss next article, innovation, competition and ambition. We will discuss this article from Business Standard. Author says there is a need for Indian industry to invest more in in-house research, even research and development. Indian industry, suppose now presently invest only 0.3% of the gross domestic product in in-house R&D. If you see world average, there is 1.5%. Why we are investing so little in R&D? There was, there were where there are less firms that invest in these things. There are several firms they are not investing properly. We have, author says, we have 4 challenges. We don't have no presence in the 6 of the top 10 industries that invest in research and development. Technology, hardware, electronics, construction, healthcare, general industrial, even industrial engineering also. Indian firms are present, they invest less in R&D than world average. In auto component, if you see, 4 Indian firms, Tata Motors, Mahindra and Mahindra, Bajaj, TVS, they figure in the top 2,500 research and development investors. They spend 3.8% of their global turnover on R&D. But this is just 1% without Tata Motors, JLR subsidiary in the United Kingdom. Rest of the 3 countries, M&M, Bajaj and TVS, they are spending very low. World average auto is 4.8% in research and development compared to their turnover. But our Indian industry, they are investing very low. In software also, India is very good at software. We have 50% of the GDP coming from software. Top Indian firms, suppose say TCS, Infosys, HCL, they invest 1% turnover in R&D compared to top 2,500 average of 14%. Pharmaceutical sector, top 5 Indian firms, they invest 6% sales in R&D. This is even less than world average of 17%, but higher than any other industrial sector in India. But problem is our pharmaceutical sector, even pharmaceutical firms, they are relatively small. Annual turnover of 5 largest pharmaceutical companies, suppose say Sun companies there, DRL, Aurobindo, Lupin, Cipla, they are at 3 billion annual turnover. Only a fraction of 45 billion average of the 20 pharmaceutical firms world over. So 3 billion, where is 45 billion? Top 5 firms invest in average 200 million in R&D compared to international top 20 average of 7 billion. There is a serious gap for our successful firms. India's missing giants, if you see, this article we discussed on March 23, 2023. Even 10 most profitable non-financial firms, they have average profit of 16% of sales. They invest just 2% in R&D. So basically, why author is telling all these things? If you see in US, China, Japan, Germany, they make average profit between 9% to 25% of the sale. They invest 29 to 55% of the profit in R&D. The difference in R&D spending to proportional to their profit is simply very huge, 20 times. Suppose say you are getting 2 crores, they will spend 20 times of that 40 crores. That means they want to earn more. The problem is not only about the sector, profitability or size. Our successful firms, they invest very little in R&D. There are 4 challenges. The missing presence in most technological intensive sector, lower R&D, this will remaining in the sector, limited scale in our most R&D intensive sector, even small investment in R&D by most successful firms. These challenges, they result in Indian industries low investment in in-house R&D. What kind of actions can be taken in order to prevent such kind of situation? One author is there. In his book, Innovation is the Key, why does India's private sector not spend in R&D? There is a problem with the competition. Author says Indian firms do not have incentive to invest in R&D because they have already continuing high growth in earning by operating in the protected market. They need not cope up with the uncertainty of the R&D outcomes. Indian market is kind of regulated. Government protects the market, so they are getting good profit. So why they want to change in R&D sector? This is persuasive argument, but author says the quality of competition with what really matters. Simply having more competition, this can drive efficiency, but this cannot be a product innovation. You can improve the efficiency, but it may not drive for innovations. The nature of competition, this must be changed. This must come from innovative firms. They must compete on their better products, not on the price. Firm, currently stands also on matters. One of the better recent books on innovation, The Power of Creative Destruction by Philip Asian. You can understand from this book, innovation is very, very important. There is, like competition is a good thing. This book discusses about many things. Indian market is very large, but relative to rest of the world, if you consider, it is very small. 15 Asian countries that make up regional comprehensive economic partnership, their free trade area 8 times of our gross domestic product. So India, by going into regional comprehensive economic partnership, we can definitely be benefited. We are protecting our imports, and then there is a less emphasis on export, though government is pushing a lot, but happening very slow manner. Selling to international market, we have several advantages. We can leverage this RCEP because this is 8 times of our gross domestic product. First thing we need to focus more is on scale. The 10 countries subset in South Asia, they alone double India's market. There are more advantages. Selling in international market, this will provide great learning opportunity. Competing with world best is this will spur innovation like no another. But these author they says expansion of export market, this will enhance innovation of the firms close to frontier. Export orientation does not enhance innovation much for firms far from the frontier. Suppose those firms that are bordering to several countries, those will be benefited, but those firms which are within the continent, they will not be benefited. Even Manmohan Singh's landmark budget in 1991, Forbes Marshall, they decided to do two things. They have figured out world's best firms. They will be soon coming to India. Even they could beat overseas, and then they could beat any industry in the home ground also. But we can learn from our exports. We are committed to investing strongly in research and development, developing products, so those products can be sold worldwide. We used time as we had in Indian market. We opened up close to technology frontier as well. The opportunity still exists for much of the Indian industry. We can do revolution here. Author says he talked to his many of the friends about investment in R&D. So we need to put long-term focus. We need to put a lot of emphasis on this industry. But he says the issue is different. Many industrialists, they are thinking that this is not the problem to solve. They have already adequately investing in R&D. That's what they're feeling. So author says he had made it his mission to show gaps in R&D across industrial sector, most of the successful firms, even overall R&D investment in the country, even all of the Indian industry also. May these things will help because there is a huge gap between how much we are investing, how much world countries are investing. But R&D must increase in order to drive success of the leading firms. When you are combining with strong export strategy that shows India's firms succeeding around the world, it becomes really powerful. The success story of the few dozen firms, this could fire Indian industry to build proprietary technology, even deploy it worldwide also. It is high time. We had hundreds of highly ambitious firms. They are operating at the technology frontier. Even they are seeking enhanced competition from imports and exports market. This will spur innovation yet more. So initiatives should be carried out by all other area. Government, academia, and industry, they should come in collaboration. They should make a lot of revolution here. We discussed 3 articles today. Thank you very much for discussion.